As we know, some parents send their kids off to summer camp because it's something they enjoyed themselves. Other parents feel it's an enrichment experience. Get away from home, get out of your comfort zone, and make new friends. Unfortunately, not all experiences with new acquaintances are good ones. Lack of regulations, isolation, and predators use this environment to prey on kids. Several child advocacy groups say sexual abuse at kids' camps is a significant and underreported issue. We are back with Rania Mankarious with Crime Stoppers Houston. This is an issue that has been a battle for years in Texas. Yeah, all right. So I'm gonna start with something that you said during the commercial break. You said, someone asked you, said, why do you assume, every camper, everybody's bad?
Yeah. It's not.
Well, you're a Crime Stopper. Yeah. You can see the worst of the worst,
and
right?
I loved your answer. We're just trying to find the bad ones.
Yeah.
We're just trying. So when you said
so not everybody's bad, we just want to find every bad one.
And I'll tell you, Deborah, when we got the catalyst case, what we call the catalyst case at Crime Stoppers, a Houston mom came to me and shared that her child had been sexually assaulted at a very prominent Texas camp. And I hate to say that, but we got backlash. People said, well, you got to vet the camp, and I'm sure she sent him or her to whatever camp. I said, no, it's actually a very prominent camp. They did vet. They did the background work. And this mom shared what happened. I immediately said, there's no way. There's no way. Yeah. No way this could happen. And we started to do our research, and we realized this could absolutely happen.
Yeah. Well, it was across the country.
And I was just
Statistics say.
Not just Texas camps across the country. When we started to do our research, we went into chat rooms where predators tend to gather
and share their information
and share their strategies. And there were multiple chats that said, if you want access to a child, go to a camp in the United States of America.
Why United States in particular?
Maybe because youth camps are not as popular overseas culturally. Families tend to stay together, but at least in this country, not just Texas, and there are some states that are far better than others, but camps tend to self-govern, self-regulate, self-police. And while we think and assume, and there are many camps that do exceptional jobs at keeping children safe, the law is what we're looking at. The law hasn't really put this aggressive requirement on camps. It's been this statutory outlier in almost every state. When we were passing our laws here in Texas, a representative from Connecticut called, and he said, I'm having my sort of inauguration. I forgot the proper term. It was his first day in office. He said, I saw your report on, background checks and the lack of vetting at camps. And he said, and I went and checked in Connecticut, we don't even require them. We don't even require the background checks.
And so in this battle here, boy, what an uphill battle. Some camps are very powerful. And if you're filing in a local jurisdiction, people know each other.
We went and looked at, the past 25 years, almost no legislative changes prior to this past summer had really taken place when it came to Texas camps. We worked with Representative Murphy back in 2019, and we were simply trying to enhance the laws around background checks for camp counselors, the ramification if you had a counselor that did something, the requirement to have record keeping access for parents who wanted to investigate how many issues have you had in this camp. And the camp pushback, Deborah, was unlike anything I had ever seen. Instead of jumping in and saying, well, we want that too. We didn't realize we didn't have that. Yes, we want parents to be able to know and vet, and we want to vet, and we want to be held to a higher standard. The pushback, and it's there for people who don't believe me. It's there.
Well, the woman who had the case with her child hit a wall.
It hit a complete wall, and what we heard from some of the camps, and it's hard to say, but they said she will get tired, she will go away. This is why we have insurance. Deborah, these are things we literally heard. We're not against camps, but we are saying that camp owners and the camp culture has to be with us, arm in arm, and saying we will do whatever it takes to keep kids safe.
Because the tough thing we talk about, it literally camps by nature, as you mentioned, that the groomers and predators were discussing how that's the place to go. Kids are separated from their parents, and if kids don't have contact, a lot of camps will not let you have contact. That critical time, as you know, when a child is sexually abused, if they can't get to someone immediately to say this is something that happened to you, you did nothing wrong, and to try and triage that, if you will, then it becomes fear-based, it becomes shamed-based, and they may not say anything.
They don't. Well, they're completely outnumbered. They're little kids, and they're on their own. And in the Catalyst case, what we found was the counselors, the colleagues were outcrying on behalf of the kids, saying there's something wrong with this counselor. The kids are crying when they come back from time with this counselor. Something's wrong with this, and still nothing happened. And the the children at this camp endured assault for their time at the camp. Again, there are camps that will hear this and be furious, and they're saying we do everything humanly possible to protect our children. That is wonderful. What we are saying is the laws have to match the exceptional activities of those camps, and the laws
and
were
make
not
sure
there.
that an investigation is not, like you said, self-governed. An investigation gets out and is investigated properly.
And Kerr County, where this camp was situated, the investigation was given to the camp leaders to do. They were handed over full authority, and it's not just us saying this, because now when you see these incredible families, Heavens 27, these 26 families that have got involved, they found the same things.
Because normally in any other situation, at a school, at a daycare, or whatever, if a child there's an accusation of sexual abuse, it would end up in a DA's office, right?
Absolutely, it would trigger a statutory. A set of activities that no one could stop, no one could circumvent or overrule. It just seemed that camps were
the self-governing thing.
They were operating in a different way. And this incredible family, when they didn't stop, and when we got to the point of requiring DISH, the Department of State Health Services, to actually investigate, their authority to actually do anything was a slap on a hand. It was, we're going to fine you, then we don't want you to look bad, so we're going to take away the fine. What if parents do dig? We don't want you to look. I mean, Deborah, it was unlike anything we've ever seen before. And so if it offends you, again, and I have to say it because I hear people on the other end saying, don't attack precious camps. Camps should be precious because camps should be precious because the scenario of allowing kids to be one with nature and have fun and do it is wonderful, provided everything is right and in place. From whether it had 2 counselors per child to the ratio of counselors that are there when kids are swimming. And when we went and looked at the laws in 2019, you needed to have 1 lifeguard for 35 kids and an adult in hearing distance. Drowning doesn't make a sound. An adult in hearing distance doesn't help you, and 1 counselor to 35 kids is not an appropriate ratio.
And do they know CPR? Do they know, all those protocols as well?